So, yeah, but see, all of this wealth, it's like the way that all of them are playing the game. And as I keep on saying, this is, the wealth is changing hands between this, upper crust where, some of the names might change and people might get thrown off and the up, they're climbing up and scratching their way up. But as long as that pyramid scheme stays the same and this concentration of artificial wealth is being produced, everybody is vulnerable. We've got the international human rights conventions that everybody can be gone after, and national laws. I mean, in the United States, it's RICO. So this guy, he's Colombian American. My intention is not to overthrow every and and empty their coffers. However, either you want to maintain imperialism and this dysfunctional globalization that will eventually implode, and all of these eras, Princess Antonia and her family, the whole Saxe-Coburg dynasty, was either wake up and smell the coffee and start assuming your roles as that have come down from hundreds of years in some cases, or resign yourselves that your lands and your country are going to be overtaken, and taken from you. So, you sleep at the wheel. You can't really blame anybody for coming on and overtaking you. So this gets into another alumni of Cobham, Jane Percy, Duchess of Northumberland. So she's a having it all home. Now, I haven't contacted her yet. I have sent a couple of emails to Princess Antonia, but never heard back. I mean, of course, through their website and their company. Never heard back. As soon as I finish this, I'm going to send this over to Duchess of Northumberland and say, would you please listen to me, and maybe we can discuss and do something here. I mean, this is the whole point, is the question I'm asking here. What are exclusive prep schools for? My understanding was to network and to produce future leaders of a country, or in this, this is global. I've gone into a global arena, but that is should be the objective of these schools, instead of producing this competition and this backstabbing witchery that's going on. I mean, Cobham, I only went to for about a year and a half, and I never really kept in contact. There's India, Portugal, so I never really kept in contact with any of my friends. Didn't mean that I had forgotten them. I just was horrible about writing letters and sending them through the post and postcards and all of those things. So I was delighted when the internet came along. But my understanding was we're supposed to be producing, people who will support each other and produce some positive vibes here, instead of just backstabbing witchery and envy and enjoying the plight of others, because that's what's going on. I mean, Foxcroft, oh lordy lord, my schoolmates have really shown their stripes. So anyway, here, Jane Percy.
I'm thrilled to be an ambassador for Great Northumberland this summer. From the 7th of July to the 1st of September, there are over 40 free family-friendly events to attend, celebrating our vibrant and diverse county. When my children were little, we used to spend our summer holidays at Almouth and the beach, and they all loved that. And when I think of Northumberland, there's very few other counties in the UK which have the history, the beaches, and the wonderful moorland that Northumberland has to offer. It is an extraordinary county. August, at Vindolanda and the Sill, there are a range of events and activities exploring the role of women in the Roman occupation of Britain. In September, Great Northumberland comes to a close with the Great Song of the North in Berwick-upon-Tweed. Join a festival procession including singers and the Duns Pipe Band through Berwick before attending a special concert at the Maltings, featuring a newly commissioned song suite, The Great Song of the North, by composer Dominique Legendre.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is, wonderful. Something like this, it promotes the local, but England is in bad shape. So this is another, I should say, point in their favor and indication of a sane family. Which is a rarity. I mean, when I went to Foxcroft, I was just like, thank you, Lord. Oh my gosh. Everybody's family is crazy. I'm normal. So listen to this is her daughter.
Everyone, Jennifer here with Bella TV, and I am sitting with Lady Melissa Percy, or just Missy as she likes to be called. And this is an exciting segment today because not only are we sitting with English royalty, but also a very successful clothing designer, a former pro tennis player. So I'm really excited to sit and get to know Missy a little bit more from what I already have gotten to.
So I'm Missy. I've just moved over to America from England. We lived in a wonderful farmhouse till I was 8 years old in Northumberland, the north of England. And it's the most northern county before you hit Scotland. When my uncle died, my father inherited and became Duke of Northumberland. So we all moved. I have 3 siblings, 1 sister and 2 brothers, and we all moved into this castle, which is the most beautiful castle. It's the second biggest inhabited in England, but also by far the most homely from what I can see. But it wasn't like that at the beginning. In my grandparents' day, they used to cook a piece of ham and leave it out at 4 o'clock, knowing that they'd have dinner at 8, and they loved their vegetables cooked for 5 hours and that kind of. So when my mom came in, it was a bit of a Pretty Woman moment, and she was sitting at dinner and she was trying to saw her way through this piece of gammon that was sitting on the table, and she sort of slipped the knife and everything went all over the table, and my dad just grabbed her hand and said, I promise you can do whatever you want with this place. Aww. And she really has made it a home. It's so warm and friendly, and it's not haunted, and there are dogs running around everywhere, and it's an amazing place. And feel very privileged to have grown up there. We have our own little.
Yeah, so I hear that, I'm like, see, even just because you have money does not mean you can't make your house into a home for your family and be family oriented. And that's why I called her a having it all homemaker, Duchess Percy. So how is she liberating women? I mean, you know, as I say. Oh, and it was very interesting. This is also worth listening to. Is is it Lord Percy? Uh, is the Earl or Lord? I guess. Well, no, this is an Earl Percy. So I guess it's the Earl Percy, her husband, and his history of his family. That was really interesting to listen to. See, this is one of the things I was like, oh, when he was talking about it, how this happened to Ellen Aquitaine. That I think when at one point there were three, because one of the things that would happen if these young women who were titled women, their fathers would die, and they're in line for the title and the territories, well, then they would be pursued by men, by titled men who would rape them and then claim them as their wives. So Eleanor Aquitaine, I think she was 13 when her father died, and this is why this is why you always heard about these stories about how these young women were wards. And, Barbara Cartland stories about the lords and the ladies and the dukes and all of these romance stories about this ward and that ward. It didn't exactly explain why they needed to be under protection at that time, but this explains it. Yeah. So this does get into women's rights in the true sense of the word. Your right to safety and security, and because all of these different rights groups really gone out into la la land with all of that. So the eldest, that's Lady Catherine Katie. Oh gosh, she's a gunsmith, a mechanic. So also these are not. And so she married Patrick Valentine and divorced, and in 2015 began a relationship with Mark Carnegie. So I don't know if that's a Carnegie. Just because you are of these families, it doesn't mean that you're evil. There are good people and there are bad people everywhere. It doesn't matter, that is across the board. Money, no money, nationality, race, whatever. So then we've got George Dominic Percy. I think that's this guy over here. There's a video here. And yeah, Max Percy, he's the youngest. And then Missy there. So, unfortunately, let's see, 13 with, let's see, there, no, let me go back to this one. No, not that one I'm looking for. Here we go. That's the one that I'm looking for. The Deep State and the Mommy Wars. The problem as tripping the prom queen. She points out in this book, and this is really the crux of the problem, women's lib movement has just increased competition between women for meal ticket husbands, mansions, castles in these cases, children, to include jobs. So, and so not only do you have to succeed, because before our success, the success of a mother and a homemaker was the success of her husband's job and his career and the children that they produce. Did they produce productive, ethical, good citizens, or did they produce serial killers, drug addicts, and the whole kit and caboodle? And that's how women were always judged. And oh Lord, I mean, you get a bunch of women with their children in a room, and everybody's judging everybody on by their kids. I mean, I think I might want to go out to the battlefield with the men. Less bloody and less vicious. So, yeah. So this is the House of Percy. Sorry, my throat really. I talked for a while. So House of Percy, here are their estates, here are the titles, the different titles. And the House of Percy has been around since 10,067. So yeah, quite a while. Yeah, so they might want to take the lead of all of the nobles in England saying enough is enough, and take charge of the country and give a swift kick in the butt to the British royal family and King Charles as the head, saying, Houston, we got a problem. Because this gets us into the House of Bathurst. Lady Hetty, she was a roommate of mine. She was in the class below me, but she was a roommate of mine while I was at Cobham. And I remember somebody told me, they said, oh, she's a lady, she has a title. And I mean, as an American, I was the only American. There was one other American at the school, but she'd always lived in Hong Kong. So I was like, you're not a real American. But I mean, I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. Also, she said, my name is Hetty. It's not Hetty. My American accent, I guess it still had a bit of American twang by that time. By the time I left England, I did speak proper English. A cabbie told me, you can't be American because you're speaking English. I just told him, we speak English on our side of the pond as well.